Hi, this is Lisa Cole, and if you are seeing this video, you're likely following my content on LinkedIn. For that, I say thank you. About a week ago, I posted a point of view on who gets to define what an MQL is. And for those of you that may not be aware of what that acronym stands for, it's Marketing Qualified Lead. And I had posted about this after seeing a couple of posts in my newsfeed that day, and one of which really stood out for me. And I felt compelled to respond to it. And it was a marketing leader that had posted this long list of different behaviors or engagement level that we might see from a prospect, and basically saying all of these behaviors would not indicate or meet the qualification of an MQL. And my response to that was, I'm sorry, marketing doesn't get to define what an MQL is or is not. That ultimately, at the end of the day, whether we like it or not as marketers, sales gets to define what an MQL is. And this post wasn't meant to do anything else except to make sure that marketers think twice about how they approach the qualification of the leads that they are generating and sending over to sales. Well, the reaction was staggering. There were more than 50,000 or so that had clicked through to this post. Dozens had reposted it with their own opinions about this, and hundreds of people had commented on this post. It was apparently the equivalent of dropping a grenade in between hundreds of B2B marketing and sales leaders. It clearly had touched a nerve. Now, what I found fascinating about many of the reposts and the comments was that they were all basically indicating that I had kind of communicated how to solve the problem in the post. And that's not at all what I gave. I simply gave a point of view on who gets to define it. I didn't provide advice on how to do that. But before I actually go ahead and answer that question, you might be wondering, why should I even listen to this woman? And the background here is that I've spent basically 25 years as a B2B marketing strategist, as a CMO advisor. And out of that 25 years, 16 of it was spent working with industry leading CMOs, helping them transform their marketing functions from these activity-based, disjointed, underperforming, order-taking functions into strategic growth drivers for the company. I was helping CMOs transform their functions and marketing functions so that they could go on the hook for a number. And after 16 years of doing this, I decided I wanted to move to the brand side so that I could lead a transformation myself. I've led now 3 transformations of disjointed, underperforming, activity-based, bloated marketing organizations to becoming lean revenue engines. And then after the first one, I published a book called The Revenue Ramp, which basically provided the full blueprint and roadmap for how to do this for your organization, how to build a revenue ramp to enable your organization to accelerate sustainable growth. I now have exposure to what best-in-class companies are doing to transform their marketing functions and inevitably become enablers of revenue growth. And then went ahead and implemented that framework twice, well, at least 3 times myself. Twice, that work was recognized by SiriusDecisions and Forrester with their Return on Integration Award. I'm the only marketing leader that is a 2-time winner of that award, which focuses on marketing and sales alignment to drive meaningful impact on the company's ability to grow revenue. I do have a lot of experience in this. And what I learned through the years was that regardless of however marketing would define a lead, if marketing didn't give sales the opportunity to define what a marketing qualified lead is and is not, if they weren't given an opportunity to say that this is what good looks like, this is worth my time to pursue, if sales wasn't given a voice, they make the decision for you without you knowing. Meaning, they receive a lead. If they do not think it meets the requirements, they simply drop it, mishandle it, or ignore it altogether. And there's more than enough studies that have been done on this for the last 2 decades, proving that that is exactly how they define it, right? So if they're not given a voice and they think that it's not worth their time, they will simply ignore it. And then at that point, as a marketer, how responsible is that? To invest millions of dollars to generate leads only to find out that sales ignores it. And as much as you might be able to use your leadership team to hold sales accountable for pursuing it, at the end of the day, sales lives and dies by their quota. And the only thing that they're going to spend their time on is stuff that's going to result in a sale within that quarter. And if they do not believe that the thing that you're giving them is worth that time invested, that that's a smarter investment of their time, they're going to ignore it and go out and generate their own leads. So what I'd like to do is give you just a high-level overview of how you can solve this problem as a marketing leader. And if you are interested, I will gladly send you the materials I use to support these conversations free of charge, but it requires work on your part. There's 5 steps, and the best way to summarize it is if marketing doesn't know how sales would define what it is it's worth their time to pursue, you just have to ask. It's that simple. You just have to ask. What I've learned that really works well is to effectively conduct 2 different surveys, follow it up with a working session, and then from there document what you've learned from the surveys and the working session. And then on a regular basis, have huddle meetings to review and test on whether or not what you've agreed to is still appropriate, given the market dynamics and what's happening in the business and the pipeline. That's it. The first survey is really just to understand how both marketing and sales perceive their working relationship. Are we aligned on metrics? Are we using the same language and terminology? How do you feel about the way that we go about developing campaigns that are intended to source leads? It's questions that really just surface how marketing and sales feel about the working relationship with each other. The second survey is simply to ask them how they define a lead, to kind of build that profile. And from that, you can aggregate it and understand, oh, this is what sales currently thinks is worth their time, and here are all the other things that they think are a waste. And just as you might have guessed, the questions that you're asking here are about the typical criteria that you might be thinking of. It's, what does the right company look like? What's the right person and the right activity, and perhaps the right need or right intent that they might be exhibiting? It's asking those questions. Those 2 surveys only take 5 to 7 minutes to complete, so it's not a big ask of sales. The third piece is you ask for 2.5 to 3 hours at the time of a small select group that represents every level throughout the organization. So a leader or 2, a director or 2, a sales manager or 2, a field sales rep or 2, and a couple of SDRs and BDRs. You pull together this group of 10 to 12 people that are the trusted voices of the organization and the sales organization, and you take them through a series of questions to build out both the profile of what qualified and sales ready looks like, as well as get alignment on who does what at every one of the stages or handoffs. You get that documented in a service level agreement, and the 2 leaders sign it. Then you hand it to your IT or your MIS or even your revenue ops function, and they make changes to the infrastructure that supports delivering leads that look like that. This same methodology works whether you are focused on account-based marketing and buying groups, or you are still a lead-centric organization. The critical piece here is just getting definition and alignment around what is worth pursuing and what does the sales organization need to pursue it effectively. And then finally, there is no such thing as one and done. in driving alignment between marketing and sales. There is no such thing as a perfect definition of what's qualified and sales ready because the market's evolving, the target audience, the buying journey is rapidly shifting. The pipeline requirements will change, and that'll influence how you want to think about lead flow and capacity, right? So if you do these 5 things and you revisit it periodically, you will find that sales shares the same definition of what is qualified and sales ready. And if I were to summarize the whole thing is if you don't know what sales thinks the definition of an MQL is, you just have to ask and listen and then take action on what they say back to you. That's it. No secret sauce. And if you're a sales leader and you're listening to this still, or you reacted to my post, or you shared it with your network, I'm not suggesting that each individual member of a sales organization makes this decision one lead at a time. I'm simply suggesting to the marketer that they defer to the sales organization's definition of what is worth their time and what they need to follow up on it, and they institutionalize it and they execute against it. And there's an opportunity to revisit it on a periodic basis to make sure it continues to meet your expectations. All right, I hope this helps. If you're a marketing leader and you are looking for what are the questions I use in the surveys, or you're looking for a recommendation for how to approach the working session, or even how to structure the agenda for the huddle meetings, reach out to me. I'm happy to share the lessons I've learned and the methodology that I use. And if you'd like to simply just read the book that I wrote that provides that blueprint, it's available on Amazon or on my website, demandaccelerated.com. Again, the point of this isn't to sell a book. It's just simply to react and provide additional information on a post that was clearly hitting a nerve. All right. Have a great week, everyone. Happy selling.